All right, everyone, welcome to this very special edition, Believe in Bills, joined by Maiorana, Rochester Democrat and Chronicle as always. I'm Adam Benigni, WGRZ-TV, Sports Talk Live, Buffalo, and Dr. David Chao, pro football doc, joining us today, works closely with Believe Network. And Dr. Chao, thank you so much for being with us. Obviously, big concern with the news today. Star linebacker Matt Milano, torn bicep for the Bills, out indefinitely. What's your familiarity with this injury, and what can fans expect?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me on. A little bit of a surprise, short notice. So we're doing this Pat McAfee style. I'm in the car, but I'm not driving, so it's okay. We'll work it out here. But here's the deal. Look, you guys know I work off of video, but having been a head team physician in the NFL, I draw on that experience in terms of what's happening. And there's no video here, but this is going to be a distal biceps tendon rupture. If it were proximal at the shoulder, he might try to play through. The fact that his quote season is over for now and surgery indicates to me it's a distal biceps. The reason why you have to have surgery on it is biceps means there's two heads. There's two heads proximally up at the shoulder joint, but down the elbow, only one. So it's completely detached at the elbow and balled up, which is why you need surgery to fix it. That's the bad news. The good news is recovery is very, very reliable. And I would expect, not just hope, but expect Matt Milano, especially, I don't know him personally, but I think he's a very tough guy. He's a stalwart defensively for you guys. And he, underwent that very bad injury. I believe it was in London, right, with his leg last year and the whole deal.
Right.
And making a comeback from that. He'll do it again. This is a much easier comeback. I think he plays in December. Now, the only reason he won't play in December is something unusual, or God forbid the Bills are out of it, There's no reason to push. But medically, it's been done before. I've done it before, and I don't see any reason why Matt Milano wouldn't be on the fast track. That's sort of the only silver lining. And as a linebacker, in order to wrap up, you, of course, need your biceps to be able to flex your elbow and grasp. That's why he needs to have the surgery now.
Dr. Chao, in terms of the recovery for this injury, so let's assume he's going to have the surgery in the next week or so, I would think. What will be the earliest time frame, do you believe, in your opinion, that he might be able to start doing football activity? Not so much practice, but be able to actually be out there and get his conditioning up. So if it is December, he's ready to go when December rolls around.
Well, if you call football activities moving on a football field, he'll be able to do that as early as 6 weeks from surgery, maybe in 8 weeks. And I think you'll start to hear rumblings when you start to see him on the sidelines of games and other things and at practice and so forth. And so he'll be in good shape when he's ready to go. Look, I'm going to make an outrageous statement here. I'm so confident that if things go as planned, that Matt Milano will be play this December. If things go in his favor, it's not impossible for November, late November, but December is very solid. I'm not saying it's going to be for sure December 1, but in December is very solid for return. Now, remember, you're talking to the guy who the day after Aaron Rodgers tore his Achilles, in game, we said it was a torn Achilles, and we're quoted on it. The day after on McAfee show, I guaranteed not only that he would return to play the next year, but there was an outside chance he could play late in the season in playoffs. Now, it didn't happen, but we heard all the speculation about it leading up to it, but the Jets were out of it by then.
Yeah, I was going to say, he might have played if the Jets had been in it, right? It felt like there was a chance that he would have tried it if they were in a playoff push.
Well, I said the day after it happened that, there's because of the position he plays and because it was his strong arm and his lead leg. And this is what we do. I use my NFL experience as a head team physician. I said it's not impossible for him to return late season. I was speculating if the Jets get to the playoffs, maybe it's Aaron Rodgers, so it was more January than December. But I also said if Zach Wilson takes them to the playoffs, how are they going to replace him with Aaron Rodgers? And obviously that wasn't close, the playoffs, etc.
So Dr. David Chao with us here on Believe in Bills Pro Football Doc. 17 years, correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Chao, lead team position for the Chargers. What's been your experience specifically with his injury? And kind of as a follow-up to Sal's question, return to football activity, that type of thing. Just can you characterize this rehab if he is back in late November or December? How impactful can Matt Milano be as he steps back onto the field?
Well, I always look at the silver lining of things. The silver lining of this one is the recovery from surgery is very reliable, and you can start doing a lot of football-related activities. So as you ramp up and get back to play, and in addition to that, sorry about that phone call here. In addition to that, it gives his leg a little more time. Of recent, I saw him out there at practice. He didn't look quite dynamic like Matt Milano. At least the last time I saw him, right?
All right, so why don't we do that? Why don't we frame it in the context of his recovery from this leg injury, which was horrific last year against Jacksonville over in London? In a sense, they're independent injuries, but there's a compounding factor, I think, that you're alluding to here.
Yeah, they're independent injuries, but in some ways, the silver lining is he gets a little more time on the leg.
Right.
You know, and that might not be a bad thing. So the Bills just got to be in playoff contention come December, and then you can rejoice having Matt Milano back, is my belief.
Hey, Dr. Chao, I was going to ask you about the leg injury. Now, the Bills are very protective about what they tell the media. And quite honestly, we were in the dark as to what actually happened. There was rumors it was his knee, it was a broken leg, it was a combination of the two. You being on the inside of the industry, you may have heard more than we actually heard, because we're still confused. What exactly did he have with that leg injury?
I'll let you in on a little thing in terms of what I do. Look, I know the Bills athletic trainers. I know the Bills medical staff, but I would never ask them because of HIPAA and patient privacy. It's like someone asking you guys, who was your source? You'd be like, give me a break. I'm not telling you who my source was, right? I mean, privacy is very important. So I deal not in insider information, but insider knowledge. For example, on Matt Milano, I haven't called anyone to say, was it a distal biceps? I'm just saying, in my experience, it's a distal biceps. Otherwise, they wouldn't have had the emergency surgery, and the return timeline, etc., is based off of that. With Matt Milano, it was some sort of combination of knee ligament and fracture, perhaps tibial plateau injury. Obviously, pretty horrific in London. I think I remember it because the game time kickoff was like 6:30 Pacific time, right? And I was watching it when he went down that game. But he's made a nice recovery, but I just didn't think he was 100% yet, the way he was exploding downhill on the ball in some of the training camp video I saw.
All right, Dr. Chao, thank you very much. If you stay with us for just a second here, we're going to wrap it up. We're going to get into much more of this tomorrow, but Sal, just a couple of quick things. We just addressed this earlier this week here on Believe and Bills, and especially with the changes on defense and what's happening at safety for the Bills and the injuries there and replacing Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde. Now you take Matt Milano out of the mix for an extended period of time, and I don't think you can overstate the impact that makes.
No, this is huge. We talked the other day, Adam, about maybe the most impactful transaction, we'll call it, in the offseason was just getting Matt Milano back on the team, an all-pro linebacker. Never mind who they signed in free agency or who they drafted. Just getting that guy back to being who he was, hopefully, was, I thought, the biggest move that happened in the offseason. Now that's gone. And we're right back to, trying to figure out if Dorian Williams can go in there now as a second-year player and take over for a guy who is so good at everything he does. We saw Williams struggle last year. He was okay against the run. He had problems in pass coverage. We saw it in the Bears game. He was the guy that got washed out on the long, dump into the flat. He lost coverage and he got messed up in the traffic. That's the stuff that can't happen. That's the stuff that doesn't happen when Matt Milano's on the field. So Williams is going to get the first crack. They signed Nicholas Morrow. They signed Deion Jones, veteran guys. I'd be surprised if it's one of those two. I think they're kind of hoping it's Dorian Williams, but they do have almost a month here to figure out. That's probably the best thing in this scenario.
All right, Sal Maiorana, thanks very much. Going to be back, the Bills in Pittsburgh for a joint practice with the Steelers in a preseason game on Saturday night. Jay Skursky of the Buffalo News is going to be joining us tomorrow, Friday, here on Believe in Bills. For Sal Maiorana, I'm Adam Benigni, and Dr. David Chao, Pro Football Talk thanks for your time and expertise here on Cleveland Bills.
No problem. And for any of your fans interested in the Bills, we have an 80-page preseason injury preview for the NFL, and we cover the Bills and we cover the AFC East, etc. And if they go to SICScore, Sports Injury Central, SICScore.com, with an email, we'll give them a hyperlink to it for all your fans. Okay.
All right.
Did we get that too, sir?
Oh yeah, sign it up. No, I'll send it to you. Yeah, just go there. It's free right now. They're not charging for it yet. I'm not on the business side. They're early bird. It's free right now. So go sign up for it now. You'll get it. All right.
All right. As soon as we wrap this up, it'll be the next thing we do. Dr. Chao, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you. Bye bye.